Hockey Town, it's a place where dreams are found. We fought so many battles here, now we're the ones that they will fear. The cup resides within our town, we won't stop no letting down. The cup is ours, we're all to drink. It's our time, let's rock this ring.
Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockey Town Rundown. You're here with us, your beautiful hosts, once again, Carlo and Zach. Carlo, another 5-game heater? What's going on, dude?
Well, what's going on is I'm super stoked about this heater that they're on. It's funny because I'll take you back real quick. I was at the game against Tampa. Obviously, we talked about that last week, and me and my brother-in-law, shout out Kyle, what's up, dog? When we were before the game, we went to Harry's and we just had a quick brewski Bosarabi, and we're looking at the standings, and both of us are just like looking at the standings, and we look at each other like, dude, we need to snap off another 7-game heater. And then we went to the game. It was an unreal game. We talked about that last week, and now a week later, here we are, and we have ripped off a 5-game heater. And like, I'm just like, I can't believe how 180 this team is. Like, I'm just so proud of these guys, but I'm also like, is the ball about to drop? But then I'm like, no, because they keep responding well. If they have a weird period, they respond well. So I don't know, man. You ask me how it's going. It's going really good, brother. It's
I'm
going
on fire
really
right now. You like, I kind of wish the viewers, watchers, listeners, and you can feel what I'm feeling right now, because I am on fire, Carlo.
Furnace.
Let's get into it today. And what do we got today? Obviously, the Red Wings are on another 5-game heater after losing 3 in a row on a road trip that they had previous. And Carlo, looking at their previous road trips, going out to California, never turns out really well. And guess what? They have the Todd father, and Todd we trust. Let's freaking go. And with that, we also are going to be talking about the elite goaltending that has been helping the Red Wings push through these last 3 wins that we will be talking about, as well as patience is a virtue, Carlo. You got to wait. That's why I did the long pause, because you got to wait, because patience is a virtue. And what exactly does that mean? We'll go more in depth about that in this episode, so stay tuned. And before we actually jump into everything, Carlo, let's take a moment and say thanks to everyone for stopping by on this brand new episode with us today. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching us, however you're watching us. You can watch us and catch us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And while you are on those platforms, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up button. That really does help us out. You guys are doing a tremendous job at that. Go ahead and take a look at all of our shorts that we are uploading on there as well. If you are on Apple or on Spotify, why don't you go ahead and hit that follow button and rate us the 5 stars. That really does go a long way. And Carlo, I don't know if people knew this. 2 things, though. 2 things. I don't know if maybe you're a mind reader. Can you take a guess on what those 2 things might be?
Does it rhyme with? It rhymes with 3, right?
3? Yeah. Almost like the 3 wins that we're talking about today, right? So
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it rhymes with that. Oh, it's free. It's free to do these things. Totally free to do these things. And hey, the more free things we do, maybe the more 3 wins we get. Who knows? That would be tremendous. We could use it, because when we look at the standing shortly, we could use it.
We could. Yeah. And what's the other thing I'm thinking of? I think you might know. We came out with something just recent. It has something to do with clothes or something, I think.
Oh yeah. The those really, really dope shirts, the Todd Father shirts. Yeah, those are dope shirts. And folks, we will. I mean, we're kind of giving you a little bit of a hint, a little bit of a teaser here, but you know, we're not joking when we say "In Todd we trust." So I mean, you might just very well see that on the store very, very soon, and that one there is going to go very well, because we really do trust Todd. And there they are.
And just like how Carlo was saying, in Todd, we trust. Todd, if you are watching, we hope you are. Why don't you go ahead and leave us a comment, just like all the fans, viewers, watchers, listeners of the Detroit Red Wings catching us on this brand new episode today. And just wanted to show you guys how our store looks and how you can get many different choices of apparel, whether if that's just a regular t-shirt, a long sleeve, a crew neck, or even a hoodie. These look really nice. Let's see, we even got the Todd Father apparel here up and running now, and we got some more here down below with some tank tops. We do have women's clothing, and then we do have new hats. We got some new colors in here, Carlo. I'm actually really digging that red one right there.
Gotta copy one of those.
Yeah, might be interested in copying me one of those as well. And so, Carlo, with that, why don't we go ahead and with that, why don't we go ahead and jump into everything, Carlo? And so let's go ahead and kick it off with the game notes. And so this week earlier on Monday against the LA Kings, you did have Cam Talbot and net. No Patrick Kane, no Comfort, no Tarasenko, no Petrie. And I guess I should start off with the Red Wings news first, because per Coach McClellan on Wednesday, Kane was still not ready. You did have Tarasenko coming back, so that's great moving down the line during the week. Comfort was making the trip. Yeah, plenty of injuries. Petrie got to stay home. Take that as you will. Maybe that's a blessing in disguise, because the Red Wings, ever since Petrie's been out, they've been winning a lot, Carlo. I believe that they've only lost one game since he's been out. I could be wrong there, but
yeah, I think you're correct on that.
Yeah, and going in depth about this LA Kings game with Cam Talbot and net, like we mentioned, the Red Wings did end up winning 5-2. But Carlo, going into the first period, the Red Wings were actually down 2-0, and then Lucas Raymond had to pull off his clutch gene mode, thanks to Marco Kasper and Dylan Larkin getting the assists on those to make it 2-1 in the first. You go into the second and the third, and from there it was just a complete Red Wings domination. You got a goal from Alex Abrincat, Elmer Soderblom getting his first goal this season, so congrats to him. Marco Kasper following up in the third, and then getting another one, which actually was an empty netter. So Marco Kasper with the 3-point night in this game against the LA Kings. And the Red Wings, outside of the faceoffs, they purely dominated the LA Kings, and good for them, because this was Tom McClellan's former team. And I'm sure going into the locker room after that first, Lucas Raymond, he kind of set the tone. And I think that was the reason why the Red Wings were able to bounce back and get this win. And goaltending was outstanding throughout the rest of the game after those two goals. Carlo, go ahead and go in depth about this game and what it meant to you.
Yeah, great synopsis of what happened. Call out for me right away, and I do not want to miss this, but Marco Kasper's goal, obviously not his empty netter, but that one where he kind of, I don't want to say he looked off Dylan Larkin on that 2-on-1, because I don't think he did. I actually think he was trying to pass the puck to Dylan Larkin by shooting it off the goaltender's pad. But dude, he just said, nah, he's like, I'm a dog. And he leaped the guy that was covering him, and he went and banged in his own rebound. That was the grossest goal I've seen in a long time, in terms of, I don't want to say it was a dirty goal, but it was certainly a gritty goal. That was like a Detroit Lions goal on the ice. It just, that's what it was. So I didn't want to miss that one. That was unreal. And then Raymond's backhander to get the guys going was really, really nice too. But overall, I mean, you kind of said it, man. The first period was a little lully. They did not have their legs. I think they even admitted that in post-game conversations. But then the second period came and they found their legs. I mean, all it took was that one goal, and the bench was alive. The players were alive, and they started buzzing. They started playing really, really well as a 5-man unit. That's how they beat the Kings team. They played really, really well as an entire team. One thing I will say, dude, is power play. I know we scored a power play goal against the Kings. I think the Red Wings at this point, it's kind of inevitable. They're going to score a power play goal if they have 3 to 4 chances a game. But I mean, Patty Kane, man, like, I just want to talk about Patty Kane in his absence. You can totally see how he positively impacts that power play, because he's the reason why you go from a 33% or a 25% on the power play to like a 50%. Like, that's all Patty Kane. So I really hope he's back tonight against Vancouver, who's having some goaltending woes and some other woes. I mean, JT Miller's gonzo now, but
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, but I think there's an opportunity for Detroit to go into Vancouver tonight and take advantage of what they're doing as an organization, and really blow the doors off down there too. Granted that they have their legs, and hey, if Patty Kane's there and we get some power play opportunities, just like against the Kings, we had a couple opportunities. We did capitalize on one. I think we could have capitalized on a few more, given that we had that puck movement that Patty Kane brings. But overall, obviously, I'm really happy with this game, man. The Kings scored too early, and then it was just all Detroit after that.
Yeah. No, I completely hear you. And we talked about that, right? And a lot of people started commenting on that if the Red Wings were to get Patrick Kane, yes, we currently miss him. And we agreed with that, right? We obviously miss him. And for obvious reasons, right? Power play is one of them, right? But a lot of fans and viewers, watchers, listeners commented saying, yeah, we really need Patrick Kane back to solidify this power play offensive juggernaut that the Red Wings currently have, just to make it that much more lethal, and thus in return hopefully produces a little bit more 5-on-5 as well. So yeah, you're exactly right, Carlo. I do want to throw out there though, Lucas Raymond, 4-point game, Carlo. A lot of people
I'm surprised I missed that. Good call. Thanks for bringing that up, because
I don't want to say a lot of people. Maybe I'm one of the very few, so I want to watch the words that I use here. But in my opinion, Lucas Raymond is turning into that superstar that we so desperately needed. And so it's okay and this goes back to Patrick Kane. I'm not saying that we don't need a Patrick Kane, but it showcases that it's okay for us to lose out on a Patrick Kane because we have someone like Lucas Raymond to come in and step up and take over the kind of style of play that he is. Carlo, in all 3 zones of the ice, this kid is absolutely unreal. What do you want to talk about Lucas Raymond? Why don't you go ahead and go in depth about if he's a superstar? What are your thoughts on him?
Well, he's definitely one in the making. I don't think I'm going to call him a superstar right now, but I'm not going to take away the fact that he could very well be one very, very soon. The way he's playing, like, everything about his game is just better right now. He's skating, dude. I feel like he's skating like just as, if not faster than Dylan Larkin now. Yeah. So I don't know what kind of power skating lessons that guy took. I have no clue. I don't know if he's just working with Larkin a lot on skating, but he is flying out there, man. And his hands have gotten so smooth. He made a beautiful dipsy doodle play last night. It didn't result into anything, but it was on the line. He kept it onside, and he still made the play, and he beat 2 guys. Just with his little dipsying and his little doodling. I'm like, dude, the hands on this kid are nasty. He is, not that they weren't ever nasty, but like seeing it just get better and better and grosser, it's just like, okay, this guy's the real deal. I don't know what more he has to really prove. And why, the why factor, it's like, is spending time with Patrick Kane rubbing off on Lucas Raymond and maybe a couple other guys when it comes to skill? Yeah, it has to be, right? But Raymond's just he's playing at a very high level right now. And you know what that excites me about, or I guess what excites me about that is this trade deadline coming up, man. This trade
Dude, it had me thinking last night too. I was going to send a text to the group chat saying like, okay, so like what kind of players should we be targeting at the trade deadline? Because that was, to me, looking back, one of the mistakes from Steve Yzerplan is that he didn't do anything at the trade deadline last year. So does he go with a different approach going into this year's trade deadline, Carlo?
Well, I think he might have to. I mean, you look, so last year the standings were not as tight as they were this year. They were tight for the bottom, like the last 2 spots, I guess the wild card spots. But like the top 3 teams in the East were pretty much locked and set. That's just not the case this year. Like, and the Wings have snapped off some crazy heaters, 7-game winning streak. We're currently on a 5-game winning streak. Like we could very well catch Ottawa and take 3rd spot. I mean, I believe we have games in hands on a majority of these teams as well. I want to say 3 games that I was looking at, but yeah, I think when you look at that and you see that the team is playing well, they're playing confident, they're playing for each other, and they're snapping off these winning streaks. You parlay all that together. Yeah, I think you got to go at this trade deadline a little bit differently and maybe be a little bit more aggressive to truly make this team better and to truly make this team a consistent winner. You know, yeah, there it is right there, man.
Yeah.
We got some games in hand here.
Yeah, it's very close, Carlo. I mean, I did watch the Boston Bruins game against the New York Rangers yesterday. Unfortunately, the Boston Bruins did end up winning that game. But Carlo, if you would have told me December 25th, 2024, that the Red Wings would be 1 point within the first and the second wild card spot, I 100% would not have believed you, right? And what happened the next day after December 25th?
There you go.
Bye, Snoozy. See ya. Bring in the Todd father, and Todd we trust, right? And so, yeah, this is absolutely insane. The turnaround of this team, and talking about, you know, the next steps for Yzerplan and the trade deadline. Yeah, he might have to go out there and get some bottom 6 player either for the defensive end or get more production out of the bottom 6 players. So we could talk about that more as we move along, but continuing on with the game recaps, let's go ahead and talk about the game against the Edmonton Oilers. Carlo, this was actually kind of the same song and dance as the LA Kings game, because the Red Wings fell down 2-0 actually after the first period with two actually unlucky bounces. A lot of people actually gave Ben Sherrod a lot of hoopla for that puck bouncing over his stick and kind of whipping. It got, to me at first, it looked like, are you trying to take a slap shot to get this out of the zone? And then the puck just bounced over his stick. And then same thing with the second goal, just an unlucky bounce. So, but with that, Carlo, the Red Wings were able to turn it around, and Michael Rasmussen kicking it off, getting 2-1, Dylan Larkin tying the game, and then that goes into a shootout with Lucas Raymond and Dylan Larkin getting the only two goals. Carlo, goaltending, and Albert Johansson, the studs in this game. I don't know which one you want to start on, but I'll leave the floor to you, bud.
I'm starting with Eljo because I have been so high on this guy. You know that. I mean, I was talking about this guy in the offseason lots. And I was really, really pushing for him to get that second line spot, which never really happened with the last coaching staff. But here he is. He's on the second line, night in, night out, playing with Simon Edmondson, and he is truly getting better every single game. And what I'm alluding to is his defensive stop on Connor McDavid. Dude. That was a work of art that couldn't have been done more brilliantly by him. The way he kept his stick out, the way he made himself big. He's not a big guy. He made himself turn into a monster. He was wide, he was dangling, and he just was annoying. And he stopped Connor McDavid, who is Connor McDavid. So, I mean, that's a pretty awesome thing for him to kind of put in the back pocket. But super proud to see Eljo playing the way he's playing, man. He played a really, really good defensive game. And then the goaltending, dude. I mean, that was a clinic, a goaltending clinic. 45 saves. Incredible. I did say in the first period that Lyon looked like he had 5 espressos, a Jolt Cola, and like a shot of adrenaline. Like, he was playing really, really aggressively. I think that might have costed him on one of those goals because he was just too hype. But then the second period came out, and not just Alex Lyon, the entire team really dialed it in. They locked it down, and they started playing the identity hockey that they have found as of late, and that's playing as a team. And Lyon certainly calmed his nerves a little bit, locked it down, and from there on out, he just put on an absolute clinic, making some insane saves, some timely saves. And that game there was, we stole that game. Lions stole that game. And I'm saying that maybe it's a reach. I mean, I don't think it is. 45 saves on 47 shots, perfect in the shootout. Lions stole that game for this team. And then the shootout itself was awesome. Larkin's goal was quick, confident. You can tell these guys are playing at just such a confident level right now. Raymond's goal was classic Razor. I think it was in between the glove and the pad. Did he go blocker or glove? I think he went glove.
Glove.
Yeah, but he's always he's just got that shot dialed in, whether it's right below the blocker, right above the pad, or right below the glove, right above the pad. He's got that zone just locked in, and he scored, and then again, Larkin came buzzing right down the ice, and it was just a quick goal, very, very, very quick, and he is playing very, very confidently right now. And one thing I'll note is after this game, I did stay up long enough to watch the post game, and Larkin's just a different person right now.
Oh yeah,
you watch his post games from pick one in December, and you watch his post games now. It's a completely different Dylan Larkin. Yeah, it's crazy what we're seeing happen within this team, and how quickly we're seeing this coaching staff really re-identify, who the Red Wings are this year. And as a result of all of this, the wins are piling up, and it's just making things very interesting for this team. But again, back to the game, back to a little bit of the analysis and the little nitpicking. We went 0 for 3 on the power play, like we talked about. Patty Kane.
Yep.
We'll leave it at that. Dylan Larkin had a career night in faceoffs. I don't know if you saw that. I think he won 30 faceoffs or something like that. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, there was, I wish I could remember. I didn't have it written down, but yeah, it was the first time in like a really long time. I think it was for like since Henrik Zetterberg or someone that they said that the
Fedorov.
Red
It
Wings
was
player
since
has,
Fedorov.
yeah, since Fedorov, since a Red Wings player has had
24 face-off wins.
Yep. So that's
Woo.
the first time since Fedorov doing that, which is absolutely incredible, which is also kind of shocking a little bit. No, don't you think?
Not really, dude, because we have been terrible in the dot for the last little while. We have not been good, but I don't know what's changing with this team. It's weird because everything is changing for the better. And like you can really go in and look at every different underlying stat there is, and they're all seeing like not just improvements, like dramatic improvements. This is crazy, dude. This is just a crazy time to cover this stuff because we've gone through some really dark times. And now we're seeing things change, but we're not just seeing small change. We're seeing some very big shifts into what makes up this Detroit Red Wings team. So, I mean, this is just awesome.
Yeah, and we're going to show actually really quick a short video that we made of Albert Johansson defending against Connor McDavid.
Watch how big. Look how big he makes himself.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a big dude.
No, not at all.
And then he drives it up. Like, it's just like, that was perfect.
Yep. And then here you got Alex Lyon stuffing Connor McDavid.
Yep.
Look at that.
Dialed in, man.
He was doing that stuff all game long, dude. Absolutely insane effort by this team and the Detroit Red Wings to come back and win again, Carlo. It's just absolutely incredible. I mean, if this was, like I said, back on December 25th, the Red Wings weren't able to do wins like these where they're coming back down 2-0. And my buddy, Jeff, he actually, shout out to you, Jeff, he came over for that Edmonton Oilers game. We stayed up and watched it. And I looked at him right after the Red Wings scored that goal, right? That first goal. I said, do you know what the most dangerous lead in all of hockey is? And he's like, 2-0. It is. It truly is. And the Red Wings are taking that quote and they're shoving it down the throats of their opponents, right? So good looks on this team for turning around. Carlo, Albert Johansson, I want to go back to him. He's a top 4 defenseman on this team currently. And is he moving forward?
There's nothing that's telling me that he's not, man. Like, look at what he's doing and look how much better he's getting every single game. Like, he is not sacrificing anything. He's not taking any lazy ways to get things done. Like, he's getting things done the way they need to get done. He's really bought into to Trent Yanni. And let's pause for a second, because something that we both found out last night regarding Trent Yanni is that he actually played with Albert Johansson's dad in Calgary, ironically, for a season. So the fact that Trent is now coaching his old D partner's son is pretty awesome. And obviously that makes things a little bit easier when it comes to a new coaching staff coming in and asking a little bit more out of you. Well, there's a little bit of strings now there, right? With Johansson's dad and Trent and how that directly affects Albert. So I just wanted to shout that out because I thought that was really, really interesting. But
yeah, no, 100%. That was really interesting. And I think too, the other interesting thing was that Trent Yanni also said in that interview, mid in the game, right? I think it was in between the intermission or something. They were doing interviews and whatnot. But he said, we really didn't have that much information on him and what kind of game he was going to be able to bring. And he didn't want to discredit the previous coaching staff. Obviously, that's almost kind of taking shots at Snoozy Lalone personally, that I think he was, without trying to take too many, right? But
he did it right though. He's like not discrediting the old, like he did it right. I mean, he was, but he did it properly.
But he was right. He was like, I figured I'd put him in there, and he shined, and he has been shining. And looking at Simon Edmondson, he even gave price Simon Edmondson. He doesn't play like his age, right? He's not even 23 years old yet. Probably looks like that he plays like a 27-year-old, which he does. He looks like he's been in this league forever. And we've heard too that with him and Albert Johansson, with Simon Edmondson and GR, they were one of the best defensive tandems in the AHL. So should we really be surprised that they're able to do this at the NHL level, Carlo? No.
And I'll tell you why. Who drafted him?
You just had to wait and stay patient. That's all. Patience is a virtue.
It's a virtue. It really is. And we're starting to, I think majority are starting to understand what it takes and how long it takes and the amount of trips to the dentist you need to go to because you're grinding your teeth. I mean, let's face it. Like, we're not the only ones grinding our teeth here. I think everybody involved is also grinding their teeth. And we're in a point now where we're starting to see things pay off. Dividends are paying off in spades. I'll back up for a second and talk about that Dylan Larkin goal to tie up the game against Edmonton. Did you see how Marco Kasper made that play? Like, we're talking about it, dude. Yeah. But just the vision, man, the vision to go and do that at that age. This is development. And we're seeing it not only with Aljo, but we're seeing it with Simon. We're seeing it with Kasper. We're seeing it with Soda, who's coming in and contributing at a crazy level. Even Dominic Shine, dude.
Dominic Shine.
Dude, Dominic Shine has been playing limited minutes, but very effectively.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I I woke up this morning and, you know, we posted some stuff on Twitter, you know, making jokes that Dominic Shine has 1 point and it's him sticking up the middle finger, you know, whatever. But Carlo, it had me thinking this morning, they signed him to a 2-year deal.
Yep.
He could be a full-time Detroit Red Wing next season because at this point, he's already outplaying Tyler Mott. To me personally, I kind of think that he's outplaying Christian Fischer a little bit too. And Joe Veleno. You could pick plenty of players on this team that you could replace with Dominic Shine.
I don't think there's a player outside of, like, right now, Larkin, Raymond, Seider, and I'm talking about playing with raw heart. Dominic Shine is playing with raw heart. He is playing like Joe Flacco from The Replacements. I love that call out. I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. But anyways, he is literally defining what it means to play with heart. He's playing limited minutes. He's running through people. I don't think he's lost a battle when it comes to one-on-one and making a hit and finishing a check. I'm pretty sure he comes out on top every single one. And his story and everything that goes into it behind it. We're just gonna stop and give some mighty big claps to Dominic Shine. What a story. What a last few games. Limited minutes, effective minutes. You deserve all the claps. You deserve all the accolades. And I really hope he continues to play on this team because he's giving them grinder shifts that they need to continue to roll 4 lines, wear down the other ones, and get out there and go back on the offense. So Dominic Shine's playing a really, really good game right now for us. And I would love to see him continue to do just that because these guys are all responding well to Todd McClellan and Trent Yanni.
Oh, boy, they ever.
They're just, these kids are responding so well. And I mean, Dominic Shine's not a kid, but he's played in the AHL for what, 10 years, 9-10 years. Now he's got his chance in the NHL and he's bought into whatever it is that those two are selling, as well as the other kids who we just mentioned. So it's just like I said before, man, like everything is just lining up, checking out, and working, and it's wild. It's absolutely wild. And I'm going to go ahead and knock on wood now, so take it over.
No, I just wanted to show Dominic Shine. Yeah, he is an undrafted player. He was never drafted. He's been a career AHLer. He's 31 years old. He's older than me. He's a Michigan resident, born and raised here. Just look at this. Played at Northern Michigan University, even got an A there, started his career with the Grand Rapids Griffins as a pro. And then finally, just after hard work and grinding away. And Carlo, how many people along the way probably told him, hey, bud, like, you're probably never going to make it to the NHL?
Oh, dude, there's haters.
He's probably laughing so hard at all those people right now. He's got to be.
I would think so, dude. I mean, but again, I mean, look at the subject or the subtitle of our episode today. Patience is a virtue, and Dominic Shine falls into that category very, very much.
Yeah,
good for him for sticking with it. So, folks, regarding this Detroit Red Wings team, if Dominic Shine can do it, so can we, the fans. We're getting there. We are getting there.
Yeah, we're very close. And Carlo already alluded to it by touching on, well, I think you were talking about the Dylan Larkin goal with Marco Kasper.
Yeah.
But we started talking about Dominic Shine. And so Dominic Shine, he got his first career NHL point by getting an assist off of Dylan Larkin's goal versus the Flames to start off the game, right? And so At first, they weren't sure if Dominic Shine was going to get the assist on it, but it's funny that you mentioned that he's very hard to get off the puck, and he plays really well on the boards because that play, the way it started is someone goes to hit him near the boards, he bounces off the dude, that dude actually falls on his butt, gets down further on the boards to help out, to get the puck to Larkin. Nice pass from Christian Fisher. Beautiful pass. Gets the point. Dude, that whole entire sequence was just
but that sequence doesn't happen if Dominic Shine doesn't finish his play and win the battle. That's the reality of it. And then Fisher, what a pass. That was gorgeous. And then Larkin buries. That was awesome. Because the first period of that game, I think I texted you. I'm like, I missed it. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, shots are 6-0. Has it been that bad? And I think 2 minutes later that happened. I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, when I saw that text from Carlo, I was like, yeah, we only got like 3 shots on net, but we scored at least, so it's okay. But Carlo, that was Dylan Larkin's 23rd goal of the season. I believe now that he's actually on pace for 36 goals and 41 assists for 77 points in 82 games. Can he be a point per game player, actually a point per game player, or over, or potentially? I kind of think that Dylan Larkin has an ample opportunity to get 40 goals. I mean, there's 30 games left of the season. So I think it's possible for him to get another 17 goals. What do you think?
I absolutely do think that. And I do think he could be a point per game player, if not a little bit more than a point per game player. But I'll tell you what that hinges on. I really believe that's gonna hinge on Lucas Raymond. If Lucas Raymond continues to turn into the superstar that we think he's turning into, you're going to see that positively affect Dylan Larkin. You're going to see that positively affect Marco Kasper for as long as Marco Kasper's on that top line. But I think you're going to see Dylan Larkin being at a minimum a point per game player. And I think you're going to see Lucas Raymond really take off. We might be seeing the start of that right now. But I think that for sure it's going to continue as we get into next season and the season after that as well, because Lucas Raymond is only 22 years old, and that's absolutely insane. He's a baby.
Yeah, and same thing with Marco Kasper. Marco Kasper's not that much older. I believe he's just a year or maybe even 2 years younger than Lucas Raymond, right? So I'm glad that you actually brought on Marco Kasper to put in there with Raymond and Larkin, obviously because he's on the top line with them. But this is how I'm defining him now. He is the not the driver of that line, but he's the guy who goes to the greasy areas in front of the net. He got 1 goal by doing that, right? The tip to put it in the net. And so I love the way that he plays his game. He actually gets into the players. He goes into the hard, greasy areas to try and win the battles and get the pucks and get them to his teammates, right? And so that's exactly what he's doing. We really don't see Lucas Raymond or Dylan Larkin doing that too much. And so if Marco Kasper can fill in that spot, because we were always saying, let's put Michael Rasmussen up there to play the net front. If Marco Kasper is going to do a good job at doing that, this top line is going to flourish very well. And Carlo, I'm just going to make this call out right now. Let me know down in the comments if you think I'm crazy for even saying this. I think Marco Kasper is going to end up being like a Patrice Bergeron / Brad Marchand for us.
I can see a Brad Marchand. I think he's got that brash to his game.
Yep. And he's got a two-way skill set like Patrice Bergeron does, to me personally.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I mean, dude, if you could go in NHL 2025 and go build a player and find a player that is Brad Bergeron, that would be pretty badass. So if Marco Kasper can model his game and mold his game to be Brad Bergeron, that is a huge W, and Dubs will be in the chat moving forward.
I might do that today just for the meme of it, Carlo. But continuing on with this game, Dylan Larkin starts it off 1-0, and then you have Simon Edmondson with just 45 seconds left in the game getting his 5th goal of the season.
What a snipe.
Yeah, good wrist shot from him. Jonathan Berggren and Soderblom getting the assists on those. And we talked about these kids, right? I mean, it's the youth movement, Carlo. We talked about it last episode. Everyone on this team, I shouldn't say everyone, except I wish Vladimir Tarasenko didn't miss basically a wide open net opportunity, but everyone on this team is contributing and they're responding, like you said, Carlo, to Tom McClellan, Trent Yawney, and everyone else on the coaching staff. It is unbelievable. And then going into the third, Nazem Kadri was the only point getter or goal scorer for the Calgary Flames late in the third. or midway through the third. Sorry about that. And then you have Andrew Kopp getting the empty net goal with about 54 seconds left in the game. Alex DeBrincat and Tarasenko, at least he got an assist on that one, getting the goal, Andrew Kopp. But Carlo, yeah, we both fell asleep by the time that goal happened. It was super late. I think it was probably like 1 a.m. by that time. But Carlo, honestly, I think I probably had the Oilers as a scheduled loss. I probably would have said the same thing about the Flames because, like I said, starting off this episode, West Coast trips are not our thing. The boys get sleepy, the time change, all that stuff. But not when you got a coach who formerly coached in this time zone, this
fair enough,
division and conference and everything. So the things that he was telling his players and the things that he was having them do and everything, it regurgitated all over the ice, and they showed up and they played. I can't get enough of the Todd father. I can't get enough in Todd we trust, Trent Yanni, everyone, the way that they're responding now. We're back. We're so back, Carlo.
We're in it, dude. And you know what's crazy about all this? Like you just brought something up that made me kind of really realize this. But you know, you said that Todd McClellan, and Trent Yanni, they're kind of a two-headed monster. They've coached in this time zone before. And the one thing that comes to my mind right away, and it's probably going to come into your mind as well, and the viewers, is that's called experienced coaching. You know what I mean? And that's what we desperately needed, obviously, is a guy who's been around the block, who can take a little bit from here and take a little bit from there, stir that pot up and make a beautiful sauce on a Sunday morning. So here we are, maybe afternoon. I'm going to make a sauce now. But you know what I'm saying.
Sauce early in the morning too.
Yeah, well, it's good. The longer it cooks, the better, right? It'll get colorful and flavorful. But yeah, man, it's a really good time right now. Vibes are super high. Dubs have been in the chat, and
Dubs in the chat.
Yeah, like what we're seeing from this team and how they're responding and how they're going out on this road trip. You can tell that you compare this one to the last road trip. I would argue this road trip was worse because it's further away. And it's in Canada, and it's brutally cold. So I would say this is a worse road trip to go on as a team and as an individual. And here we are. Like
that's partially why I said that I would have had them as scheduled losses, right?
Yeah, fair point. I mean, absolutely against Edmonton. Calgary, I think I probably would have put Calgary as an OTW/L, OT regardless, personally. But when you're playing with the confidence that you're playing with, you know the goaltender behind you is playing at an all-time high. Naturally, you want to go out there and perform in front of your goalie. And when everything's just clicking like that, it's tough to lose, man. When you're firing on all cylinders, it really is.
All right, Carlo, let's go ahead and jump into the main topics, which is obviously down below and in the thumbnail, as you guys can tell, viewing this episode. Elite goaltending and patience is a virtue. We'll start with the elite goaltending, Carlo. We've kind of already touched on it, but holy crap, Carlo. I just want to start off by saying this goaltending tandem, I thought Cam Talbot was going to be serviceable for us, but not quite like this, Carlo. And just want to start it off that since January 23rd, 2025, which was right after the Red Wings went on that weird streak where they lost 2-2, and then they went into OT and lost, so they only got out with 1 point. Since then, Cam Talbot has 4 wins, no losses, no overtime losses in the 4 games that he has started, and he has a .957 save percentage, which is first in the NHL currently. He also is tied for first in wins, and then also has a goals against average 1.25. And then even talking about Alex Lyon during that stretch since January 23rd, he's only played in 1 game, but that was the game against the Edmonton Oilers. The 47 shots against, 45 saves, .957 save percentage, and a 1.85 goals against average. Carlo, elite goaltending is helping secure the wins for this team and keep on climbing up the standings, gaining those 2 points night in, night out. Is this one of the best tandems in the NHL right now?
Yeah, I mean they are. We got to see a little bit more from Alex Lyon. But at the same time, it's like it's hard. It's a really good position to be in because Talbot's playing so good that you want to ride that hand, but you also want to respect the fact that he's 37. You know what I mean? So the fact that we can inject Lyon into the lineup and he can do what he did against Edmonton and put up some numbers like that, I would like to see that continue to really answer that question. But as of right now, I would probably say this team is playing like a top team, and that includes goaltending as well, because they're just playing really, really well, like all the way. All 6 guys are just dialed.
No, for real. All of them really are. They're all dialed in. I mean, Cam Talbot, a 39-year-old, I believe he is now, Carlo. Is this what you would have expected?
39? I thought he was 37.
Maybe it's 37. I don't know. At that point, you're just old balls in the NHL currently. But the fact that he is able to do this 4 games in a row that he has started in, right? Not 4 games total in a row, but the 4 that he has started in a row.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. And the next goaltender up, a .933 save percentage. It's absolutely insane what he's able to do. I'm actually going to stop sharing this one. I'm actually going to go ahead and share the Alex Lyon one as well, because I feel like he also deserves a little look at his performances too. I mean, is it the team or is it the goaltending or is it just everyone all around, Carlo, at this point?
I think it's everybody, man. I think it's all 6 guys on the ice, and that 6th guy, whether it's Talbot or Lyon, is filling the void, and they're filling it really, really well. Again, I'd like to see Lyon get a couple more games, and I think we're probably going to see that today against Vancouver, or tonight, I should say, because Talbot played last night. So I would imagine we see Lyon tonight, and I think that's a perfect time for Lyon to come out there and show us what he's got yet again. This is going to be a good test today, back-to-back on the road. This is going to be a very, very interesting game to watch. And I think this will be kind of a real big eye-opener, not only for us, the fan base, but also for Steve Yzerman when it comes to the trade deadline. If we can really pull out another W and take this road trip and get over 500 on it, that's going to make things very interesting. But to answer your question, I think it's just this entire locker room right now is just exactly where they need to be.
I'm so glad that you brought up the trade deadline because that's my next question. If the Red Wings are hard pressed from a team that needs a goaltender, are the Red Wings able to facilitate a trade for Alex Lyon with his cap hit and his term? Because I think that the Red Wings could get a pretty decent return back if a team came knocking.
For Lyon?
For Lyon.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at that, dude. You got to look at that. It really, again, I'm a big what's the return guy. Like it's got to make sense, and it's got to positively impact us. Like I don't want to sell Lyon just for the sake of selling him. Like we're not that team anymore, in my opinion. So it really depends on the return, and it really depends on if it's going to shake the core a little too much, because that's not something we really want to do right now either. I mean, these guys are playing like I've been saying, they're playing as a locker room. They're playing as a whole one big unit. You trade a guy that affects that. So it's almost that's why I say this is very interesting. It's almost weird in terms of making trades for the sake of making trades. I feel like that could negatively impact the team and really shake them at their core and cause a little bit of disruption. So it's going to be a very interesting time when we start getting into the trade deadline, because you got to be sure you're making a very calculated move, very strategic move that isn't going to shake the core too much, if at all, which is hard to do. So probably the 15th time I've said, thank God I'm not Steve Yzerman in the last 4 months.
Dude, he's got some really tough choices to make here upcoming too. It's just absolutely insane what he's going to have to come up with, right? I firmly believe he's going to have to make some trades, at least to bolster up the bottom 6. Like I said, maybe something at defense or something. But Carlo, let's go ahead and talk about how patience is a virtue. And since January 1st, 2025, the Detroit Red Wings are tied for the most points with 23 in the league, 11, 3, and 1. I mean, this is just a night and day 180 flip since this Newsy Lalone era. I mean, look at this. That PK definitely can go up a little bit. That power play, still,
it will. It will. When Kane's back, I'm confident that's gonna happen.
But if I would have told you on January 1st that the Red Wings would be leading the NHL in most points since then, would you have believed me?
No, absolutely not. I don't think anybody would have.
So what could the Red Wings do to solidify this moving forward in order to get themselves in a wild card position or even in third in the Atlantic, because they're very close to that as well?
Well, that's a loaded question, dude, because do they have to do anything? Look what they've done as they are today. Look what they've done. I don't know if they have to do anything, because again, it's like doing something might come at a cost of shaking you at your core when you don't really want to do that. Like, you're on a really good trajectory right now. You're on a good path. You're winning. You've ripped off a 7-game heater. You've ripped off another 5-game heater shortly after. I don't know if they have to do anything.
Yeah,
at least I don't know what the right move is. I really don't know what the move would be. And I'm not even going to try to guess, because frankly, I don't want to. Like, they're playing well. They're making me smile. So I don't want to even answer that question, although it's going to need to be answered eventually. 16th time I've said they got him, not Steve Yzerman.
Yep. So once again, do not want to be in Steve Yzerman's shoes, because you're going to make some fans unhappy. You might make a lot of fans happy at the same time, but we're just going to have to wait and see. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen once again here to show you guys how Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond are currently top 10 in the NHL for points since January 1st. I mean, we talked about him earlier. You could even throw Marco Kasper in here too. Eventually, he's going to start making his way up this leaderboard too. Fortunately, it doesn't showcase all the players down below if I scroll even down more. But Carlo, patience is a virtue, and we stayed patient, right? I mean, we asked and we received, right? We wanted a new coach. We got a new coach. Okay, can this team at least be a little bit more competitive? Absolutely. It all comes down to the patience, and not even just with someone like Dylan Larkin, because he was technically having a down year at the start of the season before Tom McClellan came along. Lucas Raymond was leading the charge with this team, and he looked like he was going to be the only player to actually be close enough to a point per game player, right? But all of that is changing. We got multiple players technically going into that position, right? And I actually want to share this next screen to showcase all the players on this team and their stats right now. I mean, look at Lucas Raymond, well over a point per game player. He essentially, I really do believe that he has an opportunity to get 100 points this season. Dylan Larkin, very close to a point per game player. Alex DeBrincat, he's got 21 goals. We got 3 players right now with over 20 goals, Carlo. I mean, you even look at someone like Simon Edvinsson. Look at this, 20 points in 48 games in his first full season, and he is on pace currently for 32 points, 8 goals, 24 assists. Is that something that you would have imagined happening at the start of the season?
I would have put Simon at 30 points based off the hype that there was around him coming into this team. I think I would have, in the offseason, I'm pretty sure we did have him at 30 points. But then as the season went on, when the season started and went on, and we just seen the way this team was being asked to play, that probably lowered the expectations substantially. And I think everybody's expectations were lowered substantially when this season started. But then, the coaching staff gets changed out, and now we're seeing what we were all hyped about last season again. And it's like, it's green light, go, man. Full send, let's go. Like they've Trent Yanni and Todd McClellan have saved the Detroit Red Wings, and that is why in Todd we trust. Need I say more?
It's just absolutely incredible. And not even talking about our top players. I mean, look at Eric Gustafsson. I believe before Tom McClellan and Trent Yanni came in, I believe he was like only at 5 points, no goals, no nothing, right? Yeah. I mean, Joe Veleno, he's kind of slowed down a little bit, but even Jonathan Berggren, he's having a great season under a Trent Yanni and Tom McClellan. Marco Kasper, we talked about. Even someone like Andrew Kopp, I thought has looked a lot better under a Todd McClellan, right? His overall defense, I think, has definitely improved. He's showing a little bit more on the offensive side. And it just goes back and taking a look at everything, just the stark difference comparison of a Todd McClellan and a Snoozy Lalone, right? Is that, to me, now I look back at it, it's like he truly did not trust some of these players on this team to do what he maybe wanted them to do, or didn't just think that they were able to do it whatsoever, and just wanted to utilize these players for the one good thing that they're good at. Like Andrew Kopp, yeah, we know that you don't really score a lot of points, but we need you to play full lights out defense, right? Gripping the stick a little bit too hard, and then that fudges everything up, right? Yeah. And you could say the same thing with a lot of these players on this team. Albert Johansson wasn't getting any ice time. Now you got someone like Trent Yanni coming in saying, well, I don't really know anything about this kid, so why not just put him in the top 4 situation? Look at that. You just got to give these players the opportunities to showcase to you what their abilities are on and off the ice. And it's working. This coaching staff has full trust in their players. And it's absolutely remarkable to finally have something like this and be able to, dare I say it, Carlo, we're going to see playoffs this season.
Well, I mean, that's going to have to be talked about eventually. And like I said, dude, if everything continues to hum along for this group the way that it has been, you might be right, dude. You might be right. And I think it's possible. And hey, if we keep seeing octopuses on the road, might be a really good sign, a little bit of foreshadowing of what we're going to see come April. So we'll take it.
We saw 3 octopi in 2 games in Canada away, Carlo.
The wings travel well.
It's absolutely incredible. It truly is. Let's see here. What else do I have for the boys and girls? I think. No, Carlo, I do have a couple polls that we actually did on Twitter X that I actually want to go over real quick. We did do one asking, is Lucas Raymond a superstar in the NHL right now? I know that I kind of touched on that, but out of the 199 votes, 88% of the people said yes. And then we also did, if the Red Wings pick anywhere between 10 to 20 in the NHL draft this season, who should they select with their first pick? Out of the 120 votes, 32% of those selected winger. But we got plenty of comments of people saying, if you're picking in that range, you might as well should just pick best player available. Would you concur with them on that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I probably would too. And I just really hope that it's actually not a player that we don't necessarily need, right? I mean, if it's a center, you're going to take it regardless, even though you have plenty of centers in your pipeline.
Yep. Trade bait.
All right. You heard it here from Carlo first, folks. Carlo, let's go ahead and jump into the Red Wings news. We only got one more thing left to talk about, and that is ASP being selected for the Trey Croner. Sorry about that. And Bear, I believe is how you pronounce it, hockey games in Stockholm, which is taking place February 6th to the 9th. I guess he said he didn't think about it entering the season, about making the team, but hey, congrats to you on making it, bud.
Absolutely. We love that.
Yeah, and his current SHL team isn't having exactly the greatest season after winning the SHL trophy, cup, tournament. I don't even know what you call it. Playoffs.
Yep. Let's call it
what
that.
Are the words?
Let's call it all of them.
Sunday scaries are hitting me at the end of this episode, everyone, as you can tell. But Carlo, that's it for that. But then let's go ahead and talk about the around the league news. And that would be covering the JT Miller saga. He actually got traded to his former team, the New York Rangers, who are having a very, very, Carlo, when I watched that game yesterday, my dad came over, we ate, we watched the game. He's like, wow, they look bad. I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, weren't they like really good last year? I was like, it's just one of those seasons, unfortunately. And then they went on the power play. I was like, looks like the Red Wings power play when Snoozy was still the coach. Yeah. That's how bad they look, Carlo. But talking about this trade more in depth, yeah, you got JT Miller, Eric Brandstrom, Jackson Dorrington from the Vancouver Canucks, going to New York for Filipino, Victor Mancini, and a conditional 2025 first round pick. JT Miller's a center, Filipino's a center. You basically just even swapped. I mean, the Canucks got to save a little bit on cap because of this trade. But Carlo, thoughts on this trade real quick?
I mean, the trade needed to happen. It was a matter of time. I don't know exactly what the hell was going on in Vancouver, but they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't sort it out. And as a result, JT Miller goes to New York and scores in his first game with actually a really nice snipe. I don't know too much about JT Miller in terms of like the locker room guy. I mean, I know about him in terms of hockey, just because I'm an avid fantasy hockey guy, and I obviously know his name because he produces and he's good. And then I see his highlights online when he's scoring some nasty goals. I don't know if anybody knows about JT Miller, the person in the room. I don't know. I have no idea what happened there, but it just sucks that they couldn't sort it out. It is what it is. He's a New York Ranger. He's back to the city that drafted him, I suppose, and there we go. The one thing I find hilarious though is there's now, I believe, there's 2 Elias Petterssons on Vancouver.
Yep.
And then there's a third Pettersson now, which is, I believe, Marcus.
Yeah.
So can you imagine like NHL.com when you're looking at Pettersson scoring and the assists were Pettersson and Pettersson? I cannot wait to see that. I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, talking about this JT Miller trade, like Carlos said, it had to have happened. It needed to happen. I guess there was a lot of locker room bullying points, and that was translating onto the ice as well. Vancouver obviously isn't really having the strongest year, right? I mean, they've had goaltending issues with Thatcher Demko getting injured. I would know because I've had him in fantasy hockey. I'm very close to dropping him, but I'm not yet. But maybe this JT Miller trade will make my decision. But yeah, you still at least got Pettersson over there. Elias, I should say, to start off, right? To differentiate them. And then you have Quinn Hughes still. I mean, you still got the rumors going around that they trade Elias Pettersson. But before we go into that, I do want to ask, you said that the Red Wings did not go after a JT Miller.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have. Like, why would you want a guy who can't make it work in the current locker room that he's in? You know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit of a turnoff, I suppose. And then you look at the record and you look at our past, stretch of games, and it's like, do we really need this right now? And then again, you look at, well, who do I got to move to make this happen? And it's like, ooh, if I move this person and this person and this person, that's really going to shake up the core of this group. Could be. I'm
not willing to give up a first for JT Miller.
No, obviously not. But are you willing to give up any of the prospects? Because I bet you one of them would be Casper, for sure, and then the other one would be who knows? Maybe Soda, because he's playing in the NHL right now and he's playing well. I'm not willing to give those guys up watching them play.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have gone after someone like JT Miller just because of the locker room stuff. But I have, watch some videos from people that know a little bit about JT Miller. He's just someone who, how's the best way I want to say this? He just wants to make sure everything is done right? He's just kind of like one of those people where if it goes wrong, then he gets very frustrated. And I don't think it really means to say he's frustrated at other people, but he's just someone who's almost kind of like a perfectionist where he wants everything to go right and wants to play the game as best of his ability. And sometimes not everyone's the same as you, and you got to understand that, right? So maybe there were players in the locker room that didn't like the way that he personified his ways in the locker room or even on the ice. So who knows? I'm not upset that we didn't get him, but best of luck to him. I mean, in terms of who won this, I would say Vancouver. They got a lot of cap off of their sheets, and they got a first out of him. So yeah, good for them.
Well, didn't they trade that first though?
Yeah, Carlo is exactly right. Once they got that first round pick, they ended up flipping it back to the Pittsburgh Penguins to get Marcus Pettersson and Drew O'Connor, and then sending over Danton Heinen, Vincent Desharnais, and Melvin Fernstrom with that first round pick as well. So you were right, Carlo. Yeah, I must have missed that one. It just kind of fell in between the weeds there, I guess. But
it happens.
They were able to bolster up that defense a little bit, man.
Yeah. Hey, and now the Red Hot Red Wings are coming in to a team with a lot of missing faces and new faces. So let's see if we can take advantage of that.
Yes. And Carlo, before we sign off here, I want to ask you one more question. If the Elias Pettersson rumors are still true, that it is potentially rumored that the Vancouver Canucks are looking to move him, we should be interested in his services, correct?
Yeah, dude, I think everybody should be interested in his services. If they're looking at moving on from him, every single team in the league should be interested in his services. But it's going to come down to creativity to get him for every single team. That's really what it's going to come down to. And I'm very curious to hear, what the creativity looks like for Detroit as a mock. something we'd have to play with, and maybe something we keep an eye on this week and we prepare for next week's episode in having a bit of a mock. Granted that nothing happens, but maybe we have a little bit of a mock and what we think it would take to get Pettersson. So with that said, folks, if you're still here and you're still listening, feel free to drop your mocks below in the comments, and maybe you'll see it featured on the next episode. We'll jump on Puckpedia, we'll make some moves, and we'd love to grab some inspiration from you guys down below in the comment section. So please drop us a couple lines on what you think it would take, or let us know why you wouldn't do it at all. Who knows?
There could be good reasons, too, as to why you should
100%.
not trade for an Elias Pettersson. But imagine, I just want to give it to the folks real quick. Imagine a top line of just all former SHL players: Marco Kasper, Elias Pettersson, Lucas Raymond, Simon Edmondson, and then Moritz Seider. An all SHL starting lineup. Imagine that real quick.
That would be pretty badass.
It'd be pretty badass.
The SHL pipeline to Detroit is big, strong, and very much there. It's pretty wild.
Absolutely. Carlo, I think with that, done.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap up this episode. So with your final thoughts, I'll leave the floor open to you, Bucko.
Hey, man. Final thoughts. The Wings play again in 9 hours. They play against the Vancouver Canucks. I'm really curious to see how they come out. I want to see if they got their legs and they're warmed up and they're primed up. So the first period is going to be my big eye test. Planning on being awake for the whole game tonight, so I'm very excited about that.
Luckily, it's at 8 p.m. tonight. So
yes, it is at 8 p.m. 9 hours from now. It is 11:01 as Zach and I wrap up here. Final thoughts are: let's go Red Wings. Nice, simple, clean, quick. Let's see if we can get another W tonight and go above 500 on this road trip. I think it's doable with everything I just said about Vancouver and the pieces, a lot of moving pieces there. I think we could take advantage of that, but we need to have our legs. And even if we don't in the first period, they've proven to come out swinging in the second period.
Yes,
so
they have.
Let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can get a good team in front of a good goaltending choice tonight, whoever that's going to be, probably Lyon, but nothing's confirmed. I have all the confidence in the world to say, let's go Red Wings, and I'm expecting 2 points tonight. And God, it feels good to say that.
Confidence is key. Patience is a virtue. Elite goaltending. That's making another 7-game heater, Carlo, because the Red Wings only have 3 more games left until the Four Nations tournament upcoming. So, yeah, they play against Vancouver tonight at 8 p.m., just under 9 hours to go. And then they play Seattle for the last home game on Tuesday, the 4th at 10 p.m. And then they got a little 3-day break to then playing against the Tampa Bay Lightning next Saturday at 1 p.m. I actually will be at that game. We got tickets for that game. So
Nice.
If you guys are going, let me know. Shoot me a DM, do whatever, and maybe we can catch up and grab a brewski real quick.
Yes,
and
sir.
Shoot the shot about the Red Wings. And so, yeah, let us know what you guys thought about this episode. Thank you for joining us once again on this brand new episode. If you made it all the way to the tail end, thanks. We really do appreciate it. Why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up. If you are watching on Spotify or listening, you can watch on Spotify. Why don't you go ahead and hit that follow button and the 5 stars, and do the same thing on Apple. We really do appreciate it. And follow us on all of our social medias, which is over there. We are primarily on Twitter X. We are the most engaged on there. So please go ahead and give us a follow on there. And with that being said, Carlo, we'll see y'all on the next one. See ya.
See ya.